Где там это? И тут заспамили все. Окей. So let's begin. So today we're covering two topics. As I know, you didn't cover cross product during the lecture, so it's not a big problem. We will cover today. The first task will be cross product. Second is dot product. Let's go. So our goal for the first part of the class is to get what is it, how to find it.
Ask a question, what means cross product? I say that it's dot product only in three-dimensional space.
Not really. Yes. You will get it today. And how to calculate it? Because you thought about you mismatch cross product and triple scalar product. It will be on the next part. And the properties of cross product. Because you need to solve the second task. Okay, the definition. Actually is so it's operation between two vectors and the result will be the third vector. So if we are talking about dot product, the result is scalar, one value. In this case, it's 3, for instance, in 3D. It should be perpendicular. And the magnitude of it, the length of this vector, will be the area of AB. I will explain it later. So you can use either right-hand rule, like high rule from Zelda, but not high rule. Okay. Actually, as for me, it's not so easy to get because, yeah, from physics you know the right-hand rule, правило буравчика, правило левой пятки, and so on. But sometimes you can forget about what. So is it a first vector or second vector, and so on. In this case, you can think in a different manner. So you can think in terms of okay. So the first vector, second vector. So if you watch from if you watch in the way from the first the shortest path from the first to the second, in this case it should be look on you. So if you're using the high hand rule, first second it should be on us. We are going for it should be counter. So in math it used to be that counterclockwise is positive rotation. So from the first to the second, it should be on us, positive. And if we just write 1, 2, it should be negative. Did you get?
Yes.
Okay. Where do we need it? Actually, first of all, let's see.
Suppose we have two arrows. Let's define the cross product of these two arrows to be a third arrow. The arrow representing the cross product is always exactly 90 degrees to the two original arrows. The length of the arrow representing the cross product is always exactly equal to the area of the parallelogram that is formed by the original two arrows. The cross product of two arrows plays a critical role in
probably yes, but when I learned this stuff first time, for me it was okay, it looks fancy but useless. I'd like to show that not really, because for instance you can make a robot slave robot for you. It's a shoe polishing robot, and it's polishing my shoe, as you may see. I'm the master of this robot, waiting when he finishes this operation, and after this you may see a mark of success. What other approaches can we use? In physics, when I talk about angular velocity or torque, or omega, probably you already know this from the physics. Actually, it's a pseudo vector, because when we wrote, do you remember this equation? Yes. So, but actually, it's it works on the coplanar motion. You are talking about spherical motion. You need to write it like this, and hooray, our cross product appears. You can get it that torque is момент, or for instance, angular velocity, угловая скорость, is pseudo vector. Why? It doesn't exist in real instead of common vectors, but it represents you a motion, counterclockwise motion. So when we are talking about rotation motion, yes, we are used to write the angular velocity, but actually it's a vector which looks on you. So in this case, we will get that it's right, because omega looks on you, r is this one, and so we have, see, like this, and it should be somewhere on the plane. Finding the area of parallelogram, it was in the video. Or for instance, find the vector which are perpendicular to the plane. I use it when I solve my robotics task. So we have uneven terrain. Uneven is, you know it, the сложная территория. So, and my robot tries to traverse it, and I need to know the normal to each point, and I use this one. Yeah, there are several techniques how to do it. One of these is, if you know the plane, you can use this product. There are two ways how to find it. First one is classical one. Probably it should be on your class. And this one from robotics. If you try to Google it, it won't be so easy. I mean, if you write this stew symmetric matrix source product, you will find it. But if you try to just open Wikipedia and so on, you won't find this way how to use it. And it is much easier as for me. The first one. It looks like determinant, first order determinant. Some of you probably know it, but now I just recommend you to write down it, because we will use it soon. So write down this equation. How do you need to write this? So we have this guy, and actually we try to find, so we want to find a vector. Actually we have a basis, A, G, K, and we want to try to find the scalars on this basis. So we want to find I. We just need to put our fingers there, and this. G, the same. We can just close this number there, and boom, boom, like this. To find these four numbers, you can use equation for determinant. Just AB minus CB. Yes.
Why do you use the negative color for J?
Because of magic. I don't know the answer. Probably you need to read how to derive this equation, and after this you will get why it's minus. Because I used to use another approach, and in this case I don't have any problems like this. Okay, I see some of you already скатали. Okay, let's go. Skew symmetric. In the previous one, you need to remember how to solve this big, awkward solution. Now we just need to multiply the matrices, and we will learn how to do it. Because as I know, only a few of you know how to do it. So you need to learn by heart this equation. I mean, so write it down now because you will need it later. So it's called P hat B. It's called hat. I mean, this one. A hat. Who knows how to multiply matrices? Okay, I just to check because so in previous group only one person knew how to do it. Okay, so actually you need to think in this manner. See, we have row and columns, and let's rewrite it there.
Олег, can you translate symmetric in Russian?
Кососимметричные.
You multiply rows by columns and columns by rows.
I will explain. Actually, all this you need to columns, rows, for me sounds a bit weird. You just need to remember. You want to find, for instance, I need to volunteer. No, it's bad. Volunteer should go to another room and borrow several. Oh, it's wrong. It's bad. I just do like this. Yes. Okay, you're a volunteer.
No.
Just go to another room, free or four, for instance, or meeting rooms, and just borrow several wood markers. I am blessing you. Okay. So how to do it? So we need to find this position. So we need to find this intersection. And let's go. You just to put fingers and palm plus palm plus palm. Неплохо там хлопнул. Nice. Okay. So 0 pi by bx plus minus az multiplied by by plus ay multiplied by bz. Second row, again, az bx plus o by. Так, галерка, будете болтать, вертухи получат. And I think Настя can, let's say, agree that I can do it. Am I right?
Yes.
See. Okay. And minus ax bz. And the last one. It's for me it's much easier to remember, yes, just put fingers like this. Even me, with my, let's say, sometimes I do like this if I have a big matrix multiplying big matrix, because I don't want to miss something. So, about geometrical representation. As I mentioned before, so it's area of parallelogram, this one, and we have a vector. Where is magnitude? As you remember, we have, so in geometrical representation, we have sign there. So, okay, in this case, what do you think? So, what can we find in dot product? If we have cosine and we have some properties. In this case, what the property we might have? What we can define if you know this
Parallels or not?
Yes. If they're parallels or not. It's right. Let's cover case study. As for me, I'm a dummy and I prefer to work with numbers instead of these letters. So let's just find, we have two vectors A and B. Let's find the real solution using both approaches. First one. So we have this, we need to put -2, -2, 10, -4, 1, 10. After this, I want to find y. I close it and put -2, 10, 1, 10, -2, 10, 1, 10. After this, minus g. Again, we close it like this, -2, -4, 10, 10, and etc. Afterwards, we calculate -2 multiplied by 10, -20, -10, -30. Are you with me? Did you get?
Yeah.
And boom, boom, boom. There. I will write again using now numbers. Because everybody should get how to multiply matrix. -2.
We just exclude the column under the vector and we calculate every part.
Okay, and there is -4, 1, 0. 10. Okay. Zero minus 4, 0. Plus -10, 2. Or -10, 1. -2, 10. -30. As we received it then. Even more, it's much easier to calculate on the computer, of course, because we can easily work with matrices, but it's much more difficult to work with this notation. It will be -40, 0, plus 20. -20. The last one, -8, -2, 0. Hooray! Just piece of cake. Yes.
Is there any tactic to remember letters for A axis,
Because,
A, Y, say this?
do you mean how to memorize this one?
Yes, the first method.
Actually, ZYX, so you have, but you should have mine there and mine there. Actually, I don't know if I forgot this equation, I just open it and find out on the internet. It's not a big problem. So, other groups, I mean, from other TA probably won't know this, and you have some benefits in your home task or in midterm. Now, there are several properties. Just look at this. We will cover it soon. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So let's start to do it on your sheets. You need to solve using both approaches. hope you get your answer from the first and second approach should be the same. Does anybody have a problem from the initial?
This first one approach, how to calculate in 2 by 2 matrix.
Multiplication with first diagonal minus multiplication with second. I mean, A, B, C, D. A на B минус C на D. Okay. Okay. Yes. В чем у тебя мотив? Что ты написал уже? Ты должен решить просто задачу. The second task. Or do you need some time? I see some of you didn't finish. Okay, let's wait 1 minute more.
Escape на спектrum.
Special escape plus, and yes, let's speak English.
Yeah.
If I speak tete-a-tete, I mean in private, in this case, you can speak Russian. But when you ask questions to me, when I am in the center, it's better to speak English. You need to improve your potato English. Do you know this meme about potato?
No.
Okay, I will put it to the next slides. The next class. Let's say you need to learn memology. You know, maybe I'm trying to become a PhD in robotics, but also I want to be a PhD in memology. You know, we have old memology, Asian memology, modern memology. Pumps. Let me say that I am not first year bachelor and I need to use only 3 equations, 3 strings to solve this task. And even prove that it should be like this. But your first year bachelor, you should do it by hand. So we need to cover the first one, write down it on the task, and I will open the properties. So write down the task. As you know, for the first time you need to suffer. After this, you can use more modern techniques like Wolfram Alpha, MATLAB, MATCAD, and whatever. Okay, the properties are following. Now you can look on your equation and think what might help us. First of all, you don't need to. I provide you a solution in coordinate form because MATLAB cannot solve it in another manner. But you may see that I put the answer to multiply corresponding BA in the solution. Because this I found using this simplification, and after this I just multiply it and show that the same. But you don't need to work in coordinate form, you need to work in vector form in this case.
Is this a test from home assignment?
Yes, of course. It wasn't home, but it's lab assignment. Probably you should have a home assignment, but probably I'm too lazy to make it. Because I made this lab. So the first one was made by Busankova, this one was made by me. And you may see there are no proofs because I'm too lazy to do it. Okay, so what do we need to use to solve this task? Let's discuss. Fifth one, yes, in the future, not now. For the first step, we probably need another. Second or third, yes. After this, we need to use probably this one and array. So let's go. Probably somebody wants to be on the whiteboard. Okay, let's go. Это хреновый лови. Nice. In front of video, no in this. Because we need to show our dear foreigners your brilliance. No? In brackets, no. The problem with all people. It's wrong.
I don't know. Maybe
I present you a solution from MATLAB. I think it's better than yours.
Okay.
So, well, no. You need to find a mistake. No. So, think. I know this is quite difficult for Polish guys because it's prohibited to think there. Probably you forget about some properties. So look on the properties.
Two multiplied by b because for other matters.
For the other matters.
Then just law.
That feels slow. No? Well. BA and AB is different, guys. You know? So, actually, the problem is there. So you just need to do like this. And this one is BA. And we summarize it, it will be 2BA. Hooray! So anybody get what's going on there? The, let's say, I'd like to say it in Russian. Нагадил надо убраться. But it will be a little rude, so I will say in Russian instead of English. Okay. After this, we'll have a reward. And the reward is following. Bam! Let's watch a nice video. And that was probably my friend. And of course, getting it class education. I didn't know the much. So, the one possible ways to use cross product. Okay, next part is dot product. So the questions are the same instead of username, you know. Okay, so dot product calculated, use it. The definition is the following. By the way, who know the intuition? What is it? What is dot product? What is it? What the dot product represents to us?
Interaction of two vectors, maybe.
Scalar multiplication of subvectors.
What?
Some
Scalar multiplication of subvectors.
It's all fancy words. I'd like to know some more
number.
It shows the similarity between two vectors, actually. Because if these vectors are opposite to each other, we'll have minus. If it's near, we have some other one, and cosine provided to us. Actually, there is another video. So see, if you have, of course, we need to make this vector unit vectors if we want to have -1 and +1. But see, if -1 is opposite and the same, it's equal to 1.
So now, where in the real world would we care about any of this? Well, one simple example would be what you're seeing here, with solar panels. If you draw a unit normal vector that is coming directly off a solar panel, and another pointing directly at the sun, how similar those vectors are, or their dot product, would be a factor in how much solar energy is absorbed, since the more the solar panels are directly pointing at the sun, the more energy you get. Or another simple application, which is probably the first for a lot of us, is with work done by some force. If you pull a block or wagon or something at an angle along a frictionless surface, so long as you don't pull too hard, that object will slide along the floor in the direction of d. And the closer that force vector is to the direction of motion, the larger a change in kinetic energy you get over some distance. And this can be seen in the equation for change in kinetic energy being force dot distance. And since these aren't necessarily unit vectors now, it's not only about the angle between them, but also their magnitudes. If the force applied to the box or the distance you pulled it were to increase, then so would the change in kinetic energy. But now let's see some lesser known applications of the dot product, starting with video games. Vectors and linear algebra are huge in video game design, as vectors that are stored in the game can contain information on the velocities and relative positions of certain characters, for example. One use of this is determining whether one character is in another's field of view. Like, how should the game determine whether a guard sees you or not as you navigate an area? Well, what the game could do is first assign a field of view to the guard that would span some angle. Then to determine whether your character is within that field, the game could calculate the unit normal vector for that guard, which points in the direction they're facing, and then it could create another unit vector going from the guard to your character. After performing the dot product, the resulting angle can be used to find the answer of whether you should be caught or chased or whatever in that moment. And in more general terms, the sign of the dot product tells us whether one player is in front of or behind another character or object. So with just a little vector analysis, the computer is able to mathematically understand what's going on within a game.
So, is several application of dot product. So we have several tasks. Do we need to spend time on this task? Probably, what do we need to know to solve the first task, for instance? We need to know how to write product in geometrical form. I mean, A, B, cosine out. And probably that's it. Because for finding this one, we put just 4, boom, boom. For finding this one, we're using this equation. And of course, we need to remember that where is positive and negative circles. The second one is the same, but you need to find our cosine. But what about this guy? Who has solved this? How many solutions do you have?
I may be mistaken, but I got just an equation for some coordinates, and I have just a lot of solutions in this. If I get
Okay.
Yes, but if we will check the intersection of this line.
Nice. I'd like to know how do you think? I mean, your way of thinking. So first of all, you read the task. What did you do next?
GeoGebra.
Yeah.
Nice. Open GeoGebra. Okay, because from other group didn't get, and I already did it for you. Bums. Actually, if you need to solve the task, you don't need to be a dummy as old geezer who try to do it on the paper because it seems not so nice. You need to do this guy. And after this you can get. First of all, we need to get, so we have A1, B1, yes, I'm not mistaken. A1, what it is? A1, B1, and AD. AD. Boom, boom. So we have this picture. And after this, we can try to just drag and drop and see what's going on there. It will intersect or no. And about 90 degrees too. So now we can see that. Okay.
As I remember,
Probably it's intersect somehow. What is? So in this case, it won't intersect, but if you look like this, it seems like it's perpendicular, like this, but it won't intersect. So, in this case, we can figure out what's going on there. Just use it drag and drop.
but maybe we need to use lines instead of vectors.
I don't give a mess about it. Actually, just need to get what's going on there. Okay. So the next step is, what do we need to think? How, in most cases, you need to think about two things. How many equations can we provide, and how many variables do we have? How many variables do we have?
Two.
Why? We have to coordinate. Why two?
We have x in, we have
Y.
y variable in m point because it is set by x. It is on the.
Can you say it in a more official way? Why? So guys, who have read about this task? At least just try to solve it. I see not only a few of you. Okay, so probably it's better to start from the task itself. So we have a cube. We have length equation of mean. So after this, we need to put P somewhere and Q somewhere. After this, we need to draw. We need to find positions of M and N that it should intersect and perpendicular. It's a big problem because, for instance, I started to solve it with previous group, and I especially forget about one of this one, and they didn't get why. So after this, we solved. Hooray! We put the needed numbers, and it doesn't work like this because actually, is it intersection? This vector is perpendicular to this vector, yes. Yes. So you draw like this, okay. You can draw. After this, you need to change the basis or choose the basis. Some of you choose it in Q point. If you're in GeoGebra, probably it's better to just put it in 0. It doesn't matter actually. But about equations, yes, we have two coordinates, Q and N. But how many degrees of freedom does it have? 1. See, they can move only along the line, and even more our line precisely on this on coordinate. I mean on x, y, and z. So in this case, you want to write n, for instance, and it is 0. It will be n on our x-axis. I mean x-axis. It will be variable 1, 0, 0, 1. What does it mean? So for Q, actually you're wrong about lines because we need to think in terms of vectors. Because we are working with vectors.
I don't know how to say it. You set points not only the segment, on all lines. For example, we can set n on 100 on x-axis.
Yes, but we need to put constraints. Constraints. Okay, and this one all y wall. All y 0. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, after this, so okay, we know that we have two variables, x and y. So how many equations do we need to have? 2. What?
At least 2.
Why at least? We have, yes, we can have less in this case. We can talk about null space. Hello, says next semester. Or we can have more equations. In this case, we need to talk about optimality. And we need to fit our equation. But if we want just to find solution, we need to have 2 variables or 2 equations. Unique equations, of course. So first equation, yes, we need to know about perpendicular stuff. So it will be AB equal to 0. For A, first equation, it's it. Second equation is we need to find a perpendicular. That x and y should be. We need to have 2 line equations and find intersection between them. And all these 3 guys should be our system of linear equations.
Actually, find the line equation in space.
In space? Actually, what's the problem with it?
Because if we get a formula, it would be problem with the same z coefficient in P and Q, and it would be division by 0.
Actually, you can think in different manner, I would say. So, okay, first of all, let's write this guy. So, first of all, it will be NQ. So we need to write it as minus x y minus 1. And for instance, we need to write PQ or P.
And M and PQ.
And PQ. Could you say me the vector?
Minus 0.5, minus 1, 0.
After this, you're putting it, and we will receive x of 5 plus y or minus 5 equal to 0. Did you find the same equation?
Yes.
What basis did you choose?
I use B like origin and S is BC.
By the way, why did you choose the? I get it. Why did you choose the Q as the origin?
Because it's more comfortable for calculating for me.
Okay. So we receive on the one equation. The problem is how to find another equation. Okay. So let's check, by the way, is it perpendicular or not? So for and of course x should be from 1 or 0 to 1 and y from 0 to 1. Why?
Yeah. In the problem, they say that it should be just on line, not on a segment.
I played with it yesterday in GeoGebra, and I think it would be some solutions if we use lines instead of segment of the line.
Yes, of course, because it should be several solutions in this case. But
not in segment.
In this case, what can we do? You need to write. You have a real task. Assume that's not a toy example in our class. A real task. I don't know. We have a cable robot and we need to find the intersection for the stuff to put, I don't know, to find orientation for something and blah blah blah. We need to provide assumptions. If you try to solve something and you see that nobody wants to provide you any additional information, you need to write, okay, I assume that we have a line in this case, and for instance, I translated it in, and I forgot, for instance, to put a segment line. Because probably maybe in Russian it was отрезок instead of line. Or maybe in Russian you can think in both cases, like linear, and you will think that, okay, we have a cube, in this case it should be, for instance, constructed and so on. You need to write, I assume that we have blah blah blah. And in this case, you formalize your task a bit deeper. In this case, okay, I want that we're working on line. I assume that we have a line, so in this case we can have several solutions. Another case, I assume that we have this one. And it will be totally okay. Actually, to solve this task, to find another equation, we can do two. We can use both cases. In one case, we can work in parametric form. Actually, probably it's not very nice task for you because we will cover line on a plane, line in space, several lectures later. But you can Google and find some solutions. So what did you find? What was the problem
The
with
formula when we x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1 equals to y minus y1 divided by y2 minus y1 and equals to z minus.
So you used in general. You tried to use general form.
Yes, and here was division by 0 in PQ.
So, but did you think so? In this case, if you have a division by 0, probably there are some special cases for this problem. Do you think in this case?
No.
So, my goal there not to provide you a solution, because now we discussed how to think and how to solve this task. So, what do you need to find? You need to find intersection between two lines. I think it's obvious for now. Yes, we are working on space. It's more bit complicated for you than when you work in plane. So, in this case, we can think in two manners. Can we make it not a space? Can we work in a plane?
No.
We can.
How?
We use 1 point from line and use 2 points from another line, and then we make plane by matrices.
How would I didn't get what it was about.
So we can use PQ or maybe MN line and use P or Q to make plane.
So for making a plane, you need to have 3 points.
Yeah. M, N, and P or Q. And after that, we check if Q or P is in this plane.
Okay, one of the possible solutions. So either you can try to make a 3D plane or 3D lines and find the intersection. Did you try to Google how to find intersection between 2 lines? Okay, let's try to Google.
But I didn't find something.
Line intersection in space. Line intersection. Okay, it's in 2D. So blah blah blah. So I see in MATLAB and lines this space. I think it helps us. Oh, intersection of 2 lines in 3D space. Quite complicated problem, I see. Guys, I am here not to teach you as other probabilities, try to give you a solution there. Either I want to help you to think. Is the reason why I dislike to say that you cannot use any computers and so on, not in class, because in this case you need to focus on the whiteboard. But in terms of home tasks and so on, even more when you need to prepare to something. So, I'd like to show you how I'm trying to learn new topics, new problems. First of all, you need to get what do you need to find. For instance, there we discussed we need to. I think in terms of variables and equations. After this, you need to probably provide some hypotheses, assumptions. Like, okay, let's, I don't know, I checked my hypothesis using GeoGebra. I just drag and drop, and I check, okay, probably I need to have several solutions, so at least maybe one solution. When I try to drag and drop, I see that in one case, yes, I can find the solution. But when I move it again, I mean, for instance, I put somewhere else, I see there are no solutions. If I talk about the segment line, not this one. Okay, I need to have one solution. So I need to have 3 equations. In this case, probably they shouldn't be linear, because in other cases it would be non-linear. In this case, we'll have more solutions. Non-linear circle. Circle is x squared plus y squared equal to f squared. Non-linear because we have squared there. And we have 2 solutions, of course, because in square we can find 2x and 2y. And after this, you need to check. The best help for you is MATLAB, MATCAD, Wolfram Mathematica, and whatever you like. So if you want to get how to solve some task, try to put some hypotheses and use some tools, computer tools, which do it efficiently. Find the solution. After this, you can just solve it by your hand. If you know the answer and you know the way how to solve it. Zahar, what's the problem?
No problem.
It's just a piece of cake. I will solve it in 1 minute. Yeah.
I'm just thinking.
Okay, it's nice if you try to think.
But also, what's the problem of intersection of 2 lines?
In space?
Yeah.
It's not a big problem. You just need to find equations and how to do it. No, it's not a problem. I just show that the guy said me, I don't know how to do it. I just Google the first link. Okay, the first video was about it. Yes, I just showed that I'm not the TA who will answer on all your questions. For me, it's better to show you the way how to find the answer, and you will find by your own. In some cases, of course, it's better to answer directly, but in this case, I think it's better for you just to try to solve this task. Okay, this task. How can we solve this? Okay, what the about linear? So, okay, first of all, what do we need to think? We have this task. What do we need to think? How do we need to think? Okay, you.
We can factorize second vector.
Okay, I'd like to ask you. So you are looking at this task. What's your first thought?
Maybe we can.
This one. When you have a monkey in your brain like this.
Check linear dependency.
Yeah, maybe we should, because there is a road like they should be collinear.
What? Okay, so do you know what does it mean collinear?
Yeah,
What is it?
parallel.
Okay. Parallel, collinear. Okay. So some of you didn't know what is it. Okay, first of all you need to get what the hell is this collinear. Okay. Assume that it's parallel, you know this piece of cake, task for 1 minute. After this, we need to understand, okay, we are in dot product and cross product task. I mean, we have today quick about product. Probably we need to use this knowledge. Okay, what else?
You could find a coefficient between these two vectors.
How? What do you, first of all, will it be right if I write this that A and B should be 1 or -1?
Yeah.
Yes. What else? What do you think?
Yeah.
And what do you think?
Not A dot B. Cosine between A and
But it's vectors.
Okay.
You found the dot product, and dot product wouldn't be between 1 and 0 or and -1. You need to find the cosine. You need to divide it to multiplication of their height.
Okay.
Length.
Probably we need to think about also about cosine. Where is it positive and where is it negative? Okay, 1 minus 1, and it's not really correct. Why? Because it can be more than 1 or -1. In this case, what we need to do? We need to normalize. We need to normalize it vectors. It should be. Yeah, you can say that we just try to find cosine, but actually, you can think in terms of angle, and you can think in terms of similarity. And in this case, we can find sound. Yes. Is it only one solution to this test?
No.
And how many solutions do we have there? Okay, it's tough to answer like now. I agree. Other solutions?
We could assume that.
I'd like to listen to you because you are too smart and I want to see guy who looks boring. Is it boring like you? Yes?
No.
So, any solutions? What do you think? How can you solve it? If you were me, so you need to solve this task. You have 5 minutes. And you will receive A grade from the whole course if you solve it. Your first goal.
Trivial solutions.
What?
Trivial solutions.
Okay, trivial solutions. Okay, we found one solution. Other solution. Okay, some of you told me about collinearity. What do we know about collinearity? What coefficient?
For each vector. If you can find the coefficients for each vector that's not 0 and their sum will be 0, that means that they're collinear.
Other solutions. The smartest is bigger. Perfect! The great answer. I expected it. And I already prepared it for you. And first solution, we just need to write this equation, and we have x and k. In this case, we need to handle it somehow. You did it like this, if not mistaken. Second solution, cross product is equal to 0. Well, just one equation, piece of cake. We don't need to think, just to put. And also, yes, we can do this way. There are 3 ways, and you can do it only Google it once. Of course, you need to know what do you need to find. So I just give you a hint. You Google it after this. Okay. I didn't Google a solution. I wrote how to solve the task and just put the. It won't be so easy to find it because my English not so nice and probably I translated it wrongly completely. Okay, no, I put it into Grammarly, but I rewrite it. It's not direct translation from the text. Okay, let's try to solve it using cross product because it will be just one equation. Okay, why not?
In that case, we also one equation.
So we have 2D. What do we need to do? That it should be, as you remember, cross product should be in 3D. So what do we need to do?
Z equals 0.
Put that a poor word, you know. A equal to x minus x 0. B squared minus. And we just need to, using skew symmetric matrix, because it will be easier for us to find out the solution. So it should be z minus y x. So z equal to 0, x will be x, and y minus y will be x minus 1. But I can be wrong, so it's better to just. So yes, I'm wrong with 100. If the low one, it should be x minus 1 and 0. So let's start to find the solution and boom, boom, boom. Because it's normal and we work on plane, it's obvious that we have only one equation in the last column or in the last row. Because ax, y, but it should be perpendicular, so it's only in the axis. Just to check that you get it correctly, that you find the solution, you wrote it correctly. And the last one will be so. What the order of polynomial? Second polynomial third. You have x in power of 3 and plus in power of 3. So how many solutions do we have?
3.
So you can find it there. So using only one matrix, after this you need to solve it, either in MATLAB or whatever you like. Because I'm too dummy to solve it by my hand, I already forgot how to do it. For higher polynomials, I forgot about Viet rule, theorem Viet. I even didn't get it in school how to use this shit. For me, it was much easier to use discriminant instead of it. What? The solution. And the last one. Let's go briefly and go have lunch. You'll be the first one. Nobody will take your seats in canteen. So, how to solve that? I like to listen to you.
I just read.
Yes. Dinara. Yes, yes. Okay. How do you think for this class?
I just try to do it, but I just get 3 equations, and I can substitute all numbers that I have, and I get some coordinates.
So first of all, you need to think how many variables do we have. We need to find C. C consists of x, yes, x, y, and z. So we need to find 3 variables. We need to find 3 coordinates. 2 is very easy to find. The third one is not so easy. The first one, what? The C vector should be perpendicular to A.
Just product same.
Just product equal to 0. Yes? The second one, давай, супер, пацан. Second one. What's the equation of the second one?
Actually, we can make cross product.
I don't see any cross product in dot product tasks. So, I know that you know.
First, x squared plus y squared plus z squared is equal to 1.
Why?
Because length of C is equal to 1.
Yes, it's a more complicated one. I spent about 2 minutes to decide to remember this equation. So,
By square root.
yes, but what, square root of 1? I think it's 1. So x squared plus y squared plus z squared equal to 1. Second one is C, A equal to 0. Probably it's better to write in coordinate form. Not probably, it's better, because in this case we know A, full A, and we need to find all C's. As for the last one,
Cosine of angle between B and C is equal to square root of
we can write it in B,
C,
B, because C is equal to 1, equal to this shit. Okay, we can just
not arc cosine, just argument
yes,
of.
Yes, like this. C, 3, B, we know this guy. Everybody get? Okay. So how many solutions do we have? How many solutions do we have? All solutions. Solutions for losers. I have only tasks and goals. Okay, actually you just need to solve it and find out. But you can think that, so when they ask this question, you may think, what's the problem there? Why did they ask how many solutions do we have? Because of
X squared.
yes, because we have x squared, I squared, and z squared. It's the reason why they ask how many solutions. Because we have non-linearity. How to solve it? F-solve in MATLAB and no problems. Okay. Or you just need to do it like routine, substitute, and spend your time. But you should have to do it because you cannot use computer during the, say, midterm. Yes, you may do like this. Yes. So it seems it's all for today. Do you have any questions, probably feedback? And now you can speak